Take one. What is Xanadu? Hello, viewers. That just sounds weird. Hello, audiences. No. Hello, YouTuber. Whatever. Look, today's movie is a Universal movie that was a flop for the company. It's infamously bad. Critics mock the effects and random music sequences. Is known to have one of the most nonsensical stories in musical history. It's been called trashy, stupid, pointless, and somehow it has a cult following. I think it also has a play. I don't know, does it have a play? Who cares? Doesn't matter. Point is, today I will be discussing a campy, bad musical with bad effects that critics hated, but is fondly remembered by some, despite the money that Universal lost on it. I swear I'm not talking about Cats. So, musicals. You either love them or you hate them. With the exception being Disney animated musicals, which everyone seems to be okay with, regardless of their stance. Why, though? Musicals, like any other genre, exist to entertain audiences. Action movies have fights, horror movies have scares, and musicals have music. As someone who has enjoyed a fair share of musicals, often the weirder ones though, I'd argue that the main weakness to any musical is that if the music sucks, you're probably not going to enjoy it much. Now, before you hang me and say that's true of any movie that's lacking in the aspect of their main genre, no, it isn't. I've seen action movies that have decent, even mediocre action that work. I've seen comedies that never give me laugh out loud moments that I'd say are pretty solid. And I've seen horror movies that barely scared me that are classics. But a musical without a good set of songs? Never. Now, obviously, that's all subjective. But I think it's key to my feelings on musicals. I tend to prefer weirder musicals because I tend to enjoy the songs in them more. Sure, good dance choreography is neat, but give me a good song with some crazy visuals and I'm good. The dance is really not as necessary. I've seen great movies with great numbers like Little Shop of Horrors, and I've seen stuff I've only enjoyed because of the music, as well as some neat visuals like Moonwalker, for example. Yeah, the Michael Jackson movie. It's not great, but look, it's not as awful as The Man was, alright? Anyway, then we have a movie like today's movie, where I do like the songs and the visuals are definitely something, but it still manages to be a very bad movie. Welcome to Xanadu. But wait, you say, doesn't that admission completely erase your point? I guess. I don't know. The thing about opinions is that you can have a well-defined taste with rules, but sometimes that goes out the window. Is that my point? Not really, but look, Xanadu is a really strange beast. I know you guys find my interest in Cats weird, but Cats, bad as it is easy to figure out why it's entertaining. There was a passion behind the feature. The actors are clearly giving effort to weird performances, the songs are kinda catchy, not good, but again, effort is there. And there's something amusing of a soundtrack that's basically all introduction songs. Oh, and you can't forget the nightmarish effects that were definitely not finished. It's fun to laugh at. It's fun to witness the train crash in slow motion. It's fun to see so much hard work being put to something that was never going to work fully, even on the best terms. Xanadu is kinda similar, but the cheap effects are really just stuff that felt outdated even in its time. At least compared to other effect-driven features in that same time frame. So the effects can hardly raise a laugh out of me. The music certainly won't raise a laugh because it's solid, and the story is nonsensical much like Cats and even Moonwalker, but it's still so simple and basic that I was more bored by it than confusingly entertained. I guess this segues into me talking about the plot. So, Xanadu is about a talented artist who's put down by a system that hasn't embraced his talent. One day, he meets a beautiful girl roller skating. She kisses him, which leads to his boner looking around for her, especially because this mysterious girl appears on a cover that he's painting for a job. The search eventually leads our lead to meet an old talented musician. The two hit it off well, all while our lead tries to satisfy his manhood with the girl. After some roller skating, the lead finds an abandoned building where his girl is roller skating. She teases him, but there's a reason for the teasing. After the lead meets up with the old musician again, who reveals he wants to open up a new club, and suddenly the teasing makes sense because the girl suggests the building she was in would be perfect. A roller skating minute afterwards, the new club is underway. Guess what the name is?
In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree.
And things are fine, but they're not fine, because the girl has to go home with her dad Zeus. Yes, the god. See, it turns out that she's a muse, sent by Zeus to inspire the creation of that place. And suddenly the teasing makes sense. Our lead argues she should stay, because he loves her. The girl argues to Zeus and, I don't know, one of Zeus's love interests, I guess, to go back to Earth. So she does so, in time for a full-on musical intro to the roller skating and the club and everything, but she leaves the lead once more. Suddenly, the teasing makes sense. Oh, but wait, there's a waitress. Is she the muse? Maybe. Either way, no teasing this time, because he's definitely roller skating tonight. Into her puss. So yeah, this movie is not good. It's a mess, and I know what you're thinking. How am I not a fan of this? I love messes. Well, I was wondering that too. I saw the film, enjoyed the music, but was bored throughout most of it. Ditto upon rewatch. It's a movie with people clearly trying and a plot that makes sense to an 80s coked out exec. So why don't I love this? And truth be told, outside the musical sequences and a few weird scenes, there's hardly much that's actually crazy throughout the bulk of the movie. It's not like Cats where the movie is always on a train of madness, nor is it like Moonwalker where it's just vignettes with a short film in the end that is just bizarre to watch. It's a standard lame romance that occasionally breaks into great music videos. Meaning that sure, I'll rewatch the musical sequences, but when it's not that, It's just a decently acted rom-com with bland characters, and the occasional weird moment. It's almost like an opposite to Tangled for me. With Tangled, I found the music to be largely boring and forgettable with a lot of blandness, but the story and characters are so good that it's the one musical I really enjoy, despite not enjoying the songs. Xanadu has great numbers, a chunk of them courtesy of ELO, but everything surrounding it makes for a movie I wouldn't bother with. After 2 viewings, I could only watch the musical segments to help keep my focus on this project.
We share the responsibilities and, well, we argue a lot. It's like being married.
In some ways, I feel like all 3 of the lead actors are at fault. Well, their characters, actually. Olivia Newton-John, who is talented here, and as many YouTube comments assure me, so beautiful that a bunch of middle-aged men still enjoy this movie to creep on her, is our leading lady. The talented singer and muse who is as shallow as characters come. Sure, I get that she's not meant to be complex because her job is to use her beauty to inspire men to create, but considering she's meant to be a love interest, one who breaks the roles of the muses, it's weird how little of a personality she develops. But look, if I started to criticize love interests for male-led films, I'd be here all day. No, that doesn't excuse this character, but it does make her a character with a common issue. Michael Beck, on the other hand, yeah, what was the point of him being an aspiring artist? He's a dreamer who is talented but hasn't found success, and you'd assume that his story will conclude with him being a famous artist. Or maybe he has an arc where he realizes some things are more important than his art. But no, we just kind of forget that. And the idea that this muse shows up to help him fulfill his dreams is never met. Unless his dreams was to roller skate, because he does that a lot. No, instead the muse seems to be there for Gene Kelly's character, which makes some sense since he's presented as almost the heart or soul of the film, but, well, more on that in a bit. My issue is that Michael Beck is really there to carry the story, but he doesn't provide much beyond being the guy who falls in love. He doesn't sing, on screen anyway, and technically not really, and helping Gene Kelly isn't a part of his growth beyond now he's a businessman, which he detested from his boss, but I guess it's okay when he does it because roller skating love? And finally, Gene Kelly, the legendary dancer from the musical era of Hollywood. Surely meant to elevate this film, while maybe blessing the leads in this story. He's practically the heart and the soul of the film, and the amount he gives is shallow, despite how flashy it all is. Presented here as a former talent, we only learn some vague details about his life as a musician and a former businessman, which is not bad, sometimes less is more. The problem is that eventually it's his dreams that take focus of the plot, with Michael Beck really does dare to get the girl while helping Gene Kelly. In a normal movie, a better movie really, Michael Beck's character would learn that his true talent was in business, or realize he doesn't need to be creating art to be happy, or simply just find a way to put his own art out there instead of creating the art others want. But here, he doesn't learn anything besides love and roller skates. He criticizes his boss, a businessman sellout who could have been a great artist, but in the end, Michael Beck does just that. We see no suggestion that he'll create his own art finally, or be recognized. He just became a businessman. And Gene Kelly being there as barely anything else but a mentor and love guru. Sure, none of the actors essentially act bad, but the material they act is just poor writing and story with no real arcs. Or structure to arc, really. Olivia Newton-John learns to love and desires to stay on Earth with little progression. Yes, she hangs around the leads, but what happens that's different from her prior jobs? We never learned that. Michael Beck wants to be a famous artist, creating what he desires, but in the end abandons it without a mention to be with a girl and run a business unrelated to his craft, while Gene Kelly opens up a new business, which I guess means that he doesn't get weird character changes, but he never really changes in a meaningful way. And look, it's not like the movie demands to be deep. It's Xanadu. It's supposed to be silly fantasy trash set in modern day, but even silly trash needs some structure to satisfy, or at least more flash and dazzle to ignore the emptiness. There just wasn't enough of either, and the movie suffers for it. Sure, I love the songs, but everything in between bores me more often than not. When I first saw a clip of this, I loudly said, "What the fuck?" And when I sat down to watch it from beginning to end, I hoped for another Cats, given the similarities in infamy. But instead, I slowly realized I would not find another so bad it's entertaining film. I'm disappointed. I don't regret it for the music, but it wasn't worth the time given. So, why is Xanadu? Stay tuned for the next video.